lot of men, a lot of boys are busy today, but they are not purposeful. They don't know what their purpose is, but they are busy. They are working 9 to 5, or they have started a business and they are putting all in, but they are not purpose driven.
Basically, I would like to state it as purpose eventually gives you the how and gives you the why as well. And when you know the why, there are a lot of possibilities for you to become the best version of yourself.
I'm 28 right now, and 3 years back, when I was 25, I used to literally throw purpose as a fancy word out there. Purpose today isn't just a fancy word for me, it's more of a responsibility now. Today, if you ask me what's your purpose, my reply would be that, in simple words, how would you define manhood?
For a lot of people, even today, it's dominance and aggression. But some few good men out there understand it is just not domination and aggression. It is more of providing, protecting, and understanding what is required.
What masculine trait do you think the society today is desperately looking out for?
Every man out there needs to have this. First is being emotionally intelligent. You need to know how do you fuel your anger, how do you suppress your sorrow, and how do you get relief from your pain.
How do you deal with failures, and what do you think is one of the biggest failure experience you've had in your life?
Basically, I was an MMA fighter. I used to fight for our country. I've won 2 golds, 2 silvers, 8 bronze. I've represented the country top, down, bottom, everywhere. I'll tell you about a fight. I was fighting in Moscow with a fighter named Tain. Fabulous fighter. I lost my consciousness. I lost my patience. I lost my cool. I wasn't a mature man then. I was a boy filled with rage, filled with arrogance. And some mishap happened where he could not make it. I'm telling you, a prime time news at 9. One of the most respected channels. Rajveer Singh Chandel is a traitor. Holding the Indian flag, this guy has killed a man.
Namaste guys, I hope you all are doing well. In today's episode we have Rajveer Singh Chandel, aka Rajveer Bhai. What an amazing experience, what an amazing conversation we've had in this particular episode. Basically, we've talked about masculinity, we've talked about positive masculinity, we've talked about discipline, we've talked about failures, we've talked about everything which will help a boy transform into the best version of man. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to enjoy this episode, so please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. That will help us bring you more episodes like this. That will help us bring you more amazing personalities like Rajveer Bhai. For now, I will leave you all to experience this beautiful episode featuring Rajveer Singh Chandel on Escape the Mold with Josh. Thank you. Bye.
I saw that probable host moment that this is a person that can get out best from me. So I thought I should reach out.
Appreciated, bhai. For the audiences who doesn't know who Rajveer Singh Chandel is, can you introduce yourself to the
Certainly, bhai. Rajveer Singh Chandel. I believe I'm a very eternal optimistic kind of a person. So I'm that last bencher who has made good or who has made big out of himself. As of now, I'm the youngest edupreneur, the youngest psychologist in my state. I own multiple businesses to look at. I have won several awards. If I talk about this year, I am Entrepreneur of the Year. Last year, I won CEO of the Year. And I've closed good numbers in terms of capital. I have 3 self-funded business that I did not put money in and still it became big. I'm blessed with that. and I look after a lot of students. Basically, teaching has been my forte. I started with fighting, a fighter became a professor. So that's a short glimpse of who I am. And the one of the biggest achievements that I believe is this year itself, I got Google verified. So
Wow.
you can be Instagram verified by via the tick. I am Google verified. Google chooses those people. I have an article of what I've done, where I've been, what I've received, what I've earned. So that's a pride moment for me. I believe that's something that I've earned because that's not something that I can buy.
Yep.
That's a small brief that what I am, and I ought to become one of the biggest people in the city, in the state, and in the country. Time rolls by.
Your life is interesting, and I think only few percentage of people's life is that good.
No, see, as a person, I've always wanted to impact rather than influence. I do not consider myself as an influencer anytime soon or down the lane as well. I respect influencers, but I would never want to be an influencer.
Yeah.
I would always look at myself as an impactor, impacting kids, impacting all my brothers out there who are working into a professional life and want to become big. When I say I'm that last bencher who was made big, I was actually the last bencher. Not great at studies, but then now I'm a professor.
Yeah.
I have completed my master's in psychology. Doing great. Yeah. Next year I'm going for a PhD. So that'll be Dr. Rajveer Singh Chandel the next time we meet.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna have you on the show very soon again.
Hi, sir.
But that time, I'm pretty sure, like I've manifested it today. While we were leaving, I told him that mark my words, we are in 2026 right now. In the year of 2028, our show is going to be one of the most well-known shows in India.
Touch wood, bhai. Certainly it shall be.
Yes. Today, I really want to cover topics like purpose, manhood, positive masculinity, failures, emotional strength, discipline as an anchor, rock bottom and rebuilding. I want to dive straight into the questions that I have, and I want to start with purpose.
Certainly.
I feel, along with my experiences, that a lot of men, a lot of boys are busy today, but they are not purposeful. They don't know what their purpose is, but they are busy. They are working 9 to 5, or they have started a business and they are putting all in, but they are not purpose driven. What are your thoughts on that?
Basically, I would like to state it as purpose eventually gives you the how and gives you the why as well. And when you know the why, there are a lot of possibilities for you to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Let's state in examples like a teenager scrolling reels for 2 hours, consider himself as busy. A youngster watching YouTube vlogging for 3 hours considers himself busy. A working professional doing 100 cold calls but not achieving the targets or not implementing skills or knowledge also considers himself busy. But in the same direction, when you put purpose behind all these three scenarios, the person scrolling reels for 2 hours wants and is aspiring to become a content creator, is noting down what is required, the bads, the goods, the things he does should not do to become a better person, a better creator. It's not that you learn just from success or you learn from the day one you start. But eventually, when you have a learner's attitude, you can learn from everything. The person watching vlogs would learn how can he vlog, what are the do's and don'ts that he can take care of. The person doing 100 calls can eventually do 50 calls but put more element into it, put more knowledge into it, work on not completing 100 calls but selling. That's the main aspect that he's there for. So, as a person, when I look at people having purpose, that fulfills a lot of delightment and gives them vision to become better. That is what I believe, that being busy is one aspect of it, but having purpose gives it altogether a different element to look at.
Yeah. Uh, I'm 28 right now, and 3 years back, when I was 25, I used to literally throw purpose as a fancy word out there. I don't know what's my purpose in life. And then I found filmmaking as my comfortable cushion. I found podcasting as my comfortable space. So I started putting it out there that, podcast is my purpose.
Cool.
Filmmaking is my purpose. But 3 years down the line, I realized that purpose today isn't just a fancy word for me. It's more of a responsibility now. So, right. So today, if you ask me what's your purpose, my reply would be that I want to be a good provider to my family, to my friends, to everyone who is watching what I put out there, and I want to be a protector. Uh, right. So the narration of purpose has shifted quite a lot in my case. I want to know what are your thoughts.
See, bhai, when purpose is an aspected thing that a person wants to know, in the process, he'll have to know himself first. I'm talking here for all my brothers out there that are wanting to do great, that are wanting to become something in life. They'll first have to discover themselves. That is when they'll know about their purpose. I have this theory, I call it the Clinton theory. There was a professor. So basically, this professor told, do something that you'll not get paid for. He would take care of your living expenses and your food. Your accommodation and food is cleared by the professor. For 90 days, you'll have to do something that you'll not get paid for. What is it that you're going to do? This was a question asked to whole class. This is an Oxford study. So a lot of people chose different things. A lot of people had to. It is not that they wanted to, but they had to. There were 30 people in that class. Out of those, today, 22 people are billionaires. You know why? Because people that chose work that they wanted to and were not getting paid for, they loved that work. So in the process where you know that this is something that you love, podcasting is something that will help you to provide, will help you to protect your family and your loved ones. That is why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You have a vision for it. So once you get to know yourself, I'm not going to get paid for it, and still this is something that I would want to do, that is where your love for this work comes in. And that is when you can find a purpose out of it as well. It's a vision that it starts with. Purpose is not something, as you told, that it was a fancy word some years back, but now you have that vision. You have that clarity that what is it going to give you. That clarity builds purpose-oriented people.
Do you believe in discipline?
Certainly I do. I'm one of the most disciplined man that I know of.
Do you think discipline comes before purpose or it comes after purpose?
Purpose is the first step towards discipline as well.
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Let's assume you, as a person, want to gain weight. All right. You start going to the gym. Your trainer tells you what your diet is going to be. But he does not allocate you with a perfect workout plan. You get on the treadmill, you run for like 40 minutes straight. You start walking, you start jogging, and then you start running. What was the purpose?
To be fit.
But you do not know the purpose. Discipline is you are getting up every day and going to the gym. But what is the purpose? You wanted to lose weight.
Yeah.
So when your purpose is not clear, that discipline is of no use. You will go to the gym every day for 30 days. You will run 40 minutes, 50 minutes every day. You'll lose weight. You'll lose muscle. Where have you gained? So discipline is the key factor for purpose to be going in a flow. But purpose is the fuel that keeps you on.
So basically, once you end up finding that love for something which you decide to pursue as your professional life, that becomes your purpose. Once that becomes your purpose, discipline follows.
Certainly. A perfect roadmap to knowing who you are, to becoming what you are meant to be, and to being what you were aspired or what you have aspired for yourself to come to you. That's the process.
Can you share your routine, like, and how disciplined are you about it?
All right, see, I start off my day with something that I do not love, I do not like. I am a big procrastinator for reading. So I start my day with reading 5 pages.
Okay.
That is something I hate. But then there was a book that taught me about how to stop procrastination. I don't think I've stopped it yet, but in the process, I've read 20, 25 books. That has made me wiser, that has made me more knowledgeable, and that has made me do something that I do not love. That's reading. So, Eat That Frog is a book that tells you do something that you hate the most at the start of your day.
Okay.
So, the rest of your day is going to be filled with things that you love to do. Second thing is I wake up at 5, I go to the gym, I read, I then go, I'm a professor, I teach, I take classes, I own multiple business, I take care of them, I roam around, I travel a lot. All this is fun. What's not fun is reading. So I start my day with that. So that is one way that I cannot procrastinate and I can be disciplined in it. Do I like it? No. Do I hate it? Yes. But do I do it? Yes. Do I do it every day? Yes. And that is what discipline is. Discipline has this thing, you'll have to do the thing that you hate regularly to earn discipline, and then that thing will give you what you're meant to achieve. Am I more knowledgeable now? Yes. Am I a professor? Yes. How did I do that? I've completed my master's from DU. Top 5 ranker. Was I a good student? No. But did I do it? Yes. How? Discipline. So that's something.
Wow. Let's talk a little about manhood.
So,
Yeah. I think it's your forte.
sort of.
People have misunderstood the definition of manhood, and people have took it to extremes now. In simple words, how would you define manhood?
I'll start with the past era of manhood, what people thought manhood was
Yeah.
dominance and aggression. For a lot of people, even today, it's dominance and aggression. But some few good men out there understand it is just not domination and aggression, being loud for what you want, being stubborn for what you want. No. It is more of providing, protecting, and understanding what is required. As a man, you'll always be a provider. If you must have heard of that quote, only women, kids, and dogs are loved unconditionally. A man is only loved on a condition where he provides. So that is not a pressure that society puts on you. It's our well being that we are meant like that. We love to provide. Like you said in the last answer, you want to be provider.
Yeah.
So does every man out there needs to be. It's not that you're going to be a better man or a bigger man if you can fight 10 people, if you can shout on your girl, if you can shout on your family and shut them down. No, that's not manhood. That's you being arrogant. And arrogant men do not do good in life. You'll have to understand humility is one of the most liked aspect in being a desirable man. Bad boy era is just a fling, is just a thing for teenagers. Great men out there understand how to respect people, how to be humble to people, and what is it that takes for you to become bigger is people that cannot touch you but still value you and give you praises. Keep your head down, work nicely, provide, help, protect is what manhood stands for.
People have very false idea of strength, and a man should have strength. What are your thoughts on that?
Right? I believe, expectedly for this question, I am one of the best people to answer. If we go on my background, you know that I'm an ex-MMA, former MMA fighter. I've won 2 golds, 2 silvers, 8 bronze for the country. I've fought in the classiest weight category. I've won open tournaments. I've won a lot of it. By real power isn't when you can hit 10 people and you hit 10 people. When you can hit 10 people but you protect 5 and take care of 5 is real power. Men today, in the past, in the time beings, are bought up not, I'll not say in a wrong manner, but not being provided the right information of how strength can be symbolized. Strength is not symbol of you being able to beat anyone out there. Strength is a symbol of you being able to protect anyone out there. And these are two different aspects. But this happens when a man does not have a tendency of ro kyun raha hai, ladki hai kya? Why are you crying? Are you a baby? No. Men cannot do this. Men cannot cry. Men cannot wear pink. Men cannot wear purple. How is this tendency going to end? And until this tendency ends, anyone who can slap anyone is only going to be considered as a strong man. So that is very less fortunate of us, of people who are not understanding, to be able to provide or to be able to protect. You got to have strength. Like normally in my city, I am also an associate member of WSD. So on Sundays, I teach women self-defense with the government associate programs. We do not teach them how to just defend themselves. We teach them how to protect themselves. It's not just about if a guy is looking at you, poke something into his eyes. It's about if anyone reaches out or attacks or comes to you with an inappropriate thought, then what are you going to do? So as men, we'll have to understand. Power does not symbolize how many people can you beat. Power is a symbol, how many people can you protect and how many people can you take a stand for. These are two different aspects of positive masculinity.
I have one very interesting question for you. Do you think being vulnerable is one of the major steps a guy can take towards understanding the positive side of masculinity?
I'll give a contradictory answer about this. At the right place, yes. At the wrong place, you will destroy yourself.
Please
let me expand. Let me expand it. So at the wrong place, if you choose a wrong listener, that person will use this against you when you are at your lowest, or when you are at a very sorrowful state, or a state where you cannot defend yourself. So to choose a listener to be vulnerable is very important. It needs to be a person that does not take advantage of you. It needs to be a person that listens to you. At times, I'll tell you, the best of the speakers are the greatest of listeners. मतलब a lot of times people come to me and उनको ज्ञान नहीं चाहिए, उनको सिर्फ एक सुनने वाला चाहिए, और बहुत बार सिर्फ वो काफ़ी होता है. मतलब me being a psychologist does not mean you come to me with a problem and I give you a solution. At times, me just listening to it also leaves a great impact. So choosing that person who you want to be vulnerable to, and would he or she use it against you in your lowest phase, is a very important move that you will have to make. I would not even disagree to that men cannot cry. They can. But where is very important. And that is something that emotional intelligence teaches you.
Yeah. So basically, a man can be gentle and at the same time he can be powerful. Gentle in a way where he knows where to open up. He knows where can he get his guards down. And powerful, of course, for to dominate and for to rule the world. Do you think, am I right?
Certainly, Bhai. See, I'll tell you, my people listening to this would know this. Why am I smiling to it? I've been called, I have a pet name as a gentle giant. I'm 6 feet, 18, 20 inches of biceps. I've put on 22 inches of shoulders. So the first aspect when you look at me is maybe arrogant, maybe dominating. But then as much as I've fought, as much as I've learned, as much as I've evolved, I've become this man who loves to take care of people. So I have a superpower. I'll tell you the second half of your question, that being gentle and still having that power, can it work? I have a superpower. I have that ability to go to places with a great mood. It does not matter if inside I feel like shit, I feel like not going there, I feel like puking. But I will enter that room as I own that place. That ability is known as power.
How do you do that?
Very easily. I know that me being happy, me being powerful, me doing what is needed to be done would piss off a lot of people out there. It's a negative fueling mechanism, but it works. And it has worked for me every time. I enter in the room and I own that place. You must have heard of it. Either be the ruler or be the king who owns every place that he walks into. So I tend to take life in that manner.
There's a quote I came across, and it was one of the finest quotes, I would say. It's a mix of badass and also a king vibe. That I'll walk into a room as if I am the king, and if someone else is, I don't give a Have you heard about it?
Yep, it's crazy good. And I have a believing tendency in this. I can be in the baddest mood, but I'll do what is needed to be done.
Yep.
And that is what real men do. I am not feeling like I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling sorrow. It's okay. Later. What's important now? To go there, to be the person, to represent, to own the room. Hardest worker in the room, feel sad. Hardest worker in the room, feel pain. Hardest worker in the room are miserable from inside. But you can never make it out.
Yeah.
It's just the difference.
Yeah. I encounter a lot of boys in my day-to-day life. I encounter a lot of men in my day-to-day life. According to my experience and according to our research, we found that very less % of boys wants to have this mentality of being a provider and a protector, and very less men in today's times have that mentality of being a provider and protector. My question to you is, what masculine trait do you think the society today is desperately looking out for?
I'll state in two things that will not make you any less of a man or a great of a man, but every man out there needs to have this. First is being emotionally intelligent. You need to know how do you fuel your anger, how do you suppress your sorrow, and how do you get relief from your pain. If you can do this and not let emotions rule over you at the correct place, there are very less chances of you failing. And to work over this, your next question would be how to do this.
Yeah.
A lot of people would think of it. I'll tell you how I did it. I'm not like a saint. I get very angry. I had anger issues. I was a fighter. But then I know now that how I have come across it. I'll tell you about that. Any man out there needs to work on 3 aspects of life. Firstly, he needs to be physically fit.
Okay.
Second, he needs to be mentally fit. And third, he needs to be spiritually fit. Now, when I talk about physically fit, I'm not telling you to go work out like me, 5 a.m., be the strongest person, take steroids, take proteins. I am no one to judge. Go for a walk. Go for forest bathing. Go at places that keep you peace, keep you in peace, that keep you happy, that makes you feel harmony. That is physically fit. Mentally fit, I'm not telling you to read books like read 25 books, read 5 pages. If you can, you should. If you can't, do whatever gives you wisdom.
Yeah.
Listen to podcasts. Listen to knowledgeable people. There's this quote that I love the most. Either you're destined to be a very successful man, and if not, follow the footsteps of a successful man. You'll become something in life. And I love this. If I wouldn't have been successful, I would have died trying and become something out of it.
You would have died
Trying and become something. Because sometimes it's meant to happen. Sometimes you make it happen. You got to be a bit of delusional. There is magic. It's just you were waiting for it to happen. Why not be the magic? And a lot of times, I have never learned anything out of success. If you must know that success builds ego, failure builds character.
You just mentioned you have to be a little delusional.
Certainly.
Also, you mentioned ego and failure. I want to cover these three topics. Let's start with a person being delusional. Uh, do you mean a person should somewhere follow the idea of law of attraction?
I would not say somewhere. I would state it as it is a thing.
Okay.
A person should and needs to follow it.
Okay.
If you cannot aspire or visualize what you want to have in life, you'll never work as hard as it is required to. So to be delusional is not the teenage concept that I'm telling, that Delulu is the only silly Lulu. No. I'm talking about delusional of you becoming the greatest member of your bloodline and earning so much or becoming that strong that your family can rely on you, your people can rely on you. You got to make a wall full of cash just for your family to be fulfilled with their wishes. You got to become that person. This delusion would not make you a loser. If it happens, you're going to be the greatest. If it doesn't, you're going to be something. But if you still are just thinking, you're going to be nothing.
Let's do one thing. Can you expand on how would you personally define law of attraction? And I know that you follow it. We've had a good chat about it.
Yep, I do.
So what do you do when it comes to you believing in law of attraction? What do you do? How do you manifest it? And the method that you follow. Let's say you give positive affirmations to yourself, or anything that you do. How does that wire your brain? How does that, can you also explain it in a practical way for the audience to understand?
Certainly. Let me give you my personal example for
Perfect.
it. Okay. So 25, when 2025 started, I had a lot of things in my bucket list. So I basically had a vision board. For 25 it was different, for 26 it is different. I've made a new vision board for this year. I crossed down everything that I bought last year from that vision board. So let's not get into what all I got. You know all of it. And people who follow me on Insta know all of it. But let me give you one specific example. I had to purchase 4 automotive things last year. I have all those 4 things. But then the toughest of those was to get a Harley Roadster plus Sportster customized and legalized in India. 25 starting, I believe January 1st week, I had a picture of a customized Harley on my wall. November 25th, it was standing in my garage. How did that happen? Just because I wanted it to happen? No. See, manifestation is no magic. Manifestation is you wanting something, working for it, wanting it more badly, working your ass out just to get that, just to make that happen, is manifestation. Is law of attraction as well. It's not just you wanting it bad. It's you working your ass off for that. Do you think a 9 to 5 would get you a Harley, would get you a BMW, would get you a Hayabusa or a Range Rover, whatever I have? It may, but firstly, you'll have to believe in it. So that is where law of attraction comes in. It's not just for the materialistic things.
Yep.
It's for a lot of things out there.
Yep.
You wanting a good relation, you wanting a happy life, you wanting to become financially free, all of it. See, in a process, now people might think, agar nahi hua to. So even if it does not happen, don't you think you'll be a better person or a strongest working person in your life capability? You, from doing nothing to doing something to having everything, is the process.
Wow. And just keep doing it.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
certainly.
Bro, since we talked about law of attraction, I'll give you a real life situation. All right. I faced it, and many people out there are facing this. Let's say today I've started manifesting, of course, and I've started working towards it. But once upon a time, a younger version of me used to step out because of the fear of failure. So let's say I started with and execution. Today, I manifested that Escape the Mold channel is going to be one of the biggest podcast channels in India.
Touch wood.
I've started working for it. We faced so many rejections from guests. So many guests, they won't even reply to our emails. एटलीस्ट एक हफ्ते में हम 100 ईमेल डालते हैं, 100 में से 2 या 3 के रिप्लाई आते हैं, वो भी फिंगर्स क्रॉस्ड. द यंगर वर्जन ऑफ जश यूज टू बैक आउट कि नहीं हो रहा है ना, क्यों ही करूँ. सो failure is somewhere not helping people to actually understand the profoundness of law of attraction. My question to you is, how do you deal with failures, and what do you think is one of the biggest failure experience you've had in your life?
One of the biggest experiences about failure that I have is something very deep, something very enhanced that changed Rajveer Singh Chandel. I'll share that. But firstly, I'd like to tell you today the mentality that people have about failure, they have a victim mentality. मेरे साथ ही हो रहा है, why me? I'm a bad luck person. I am a negative orientation person. But it's not that way. It takes time. One night millionaire or overnight success is just a myth. As good as it sounds, it's nothing to do with it. You becoming successful, your things working, will have to go through a process. You know, when the perfect stone or a perfect coal is being pressurized in a perfect manner, that is when a perfect diamond comes out. Not just by knocking it through a hammer. It takes time. And success is not a one-way path. It's two ways. So you'll have to give it time. For anything to become your reality, for anything to happen, for anything to work, समय देना पड़ेगा. You'll have to understand that. And talking about my biggest failures, let me share it with you and you'll think, well, it's like the grass is always greener on the other side. Aaj, this Rajveer who has done so much, who is successful in terms of monetary, capital, secure, I'll tell you a Rajveer that couldn't have stood from where I look at. Basically, I was an MMA fighter. I used to fight for our country. I've won 2 golds, 2 silvers, 8 bronze. I've represented the country top, down, bottom, everywhere. I'll tell you about a fight. I was fighting in Moscow with a fighter named Tain. Fabulous fighter. And I, as a person, I've always respected skills, knowledge, wisdom. I was the one to call you. That bhai, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
Because I will never look at something ki no, this guy's not good, this guy is not. If that guy has skill, he has those skills. He owns it. I cannot do anything to it. I may be better, I may be not, but he owns what he has. So this guy was a beautiful fighter. I lost my consciousness. I lost my patience. I lost my cool. I wasn't a mature man then. I was a boy filled with rage, filled with arrogance. And some mishap happened where he could not make it. And in MMA, that's like when we enter the cage, we sign a contract that if anything happens to you, it's not a responsibility of the fundamental tournament holders, not of anyone. It's your own responsibility. He signed it. I signed it. But still, I'm telling you, a prime time news at 9, one of the most respected channels. Rajveer Singh Chandel is a traitor. Holding the Indian flag, this guy has killed a man. This guy has done something bad. He's a traitor. He's a shame to the country. You, a 20-year-old kid, watching TV, listening to your name, and listening to your name with a traitor, shame to the country, has done something so bad that the country is not even accepting that he is our fighter. The same man who has won 14 medals for the country. And the country does not stand by him. I believe that's failure.
Yep.
That is. I could not think straight for 2 days. That whatever I done, so bad. when we get into the cage, it's destined that one of us is going to get hurt. So I understand I made a mistake, I lost my rage, and I did something. But a traitor, 14 medals for the country, but considered as traitor. Do you think anyone's problems are bigger than that? I wasn't able to board a flight back to India. I know how I came back. I know how my certificates got suspended. I know how I got banned for life. I know how my videos were taken down from YouTube, from ESPN, from all those places. And just one primetime news running all over, a traitor, a traitor, a traitor. You can Google Rajveer Singh Chandel today, a Google certified professor, the youngest edupreneur, a traitor in 2016. Failure is one of the biggest teachers that you can ever have. I've said this I've said this multiple times, and I'll always say this. Success builds ego, failure builds character. I could have easily gone into depression, gone into a very dark space, but I chose not to. A lot of people that knew me thought I am done. ये फाइटर था, ख़त्म हो गया, बस कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा अब. क्या करेगा? इंस्ट्रक्टर बन जाएगा, ट्रेनर बन जाएगा, बॉडीगार्ड बन जाएगा, बाउंसर बन जाएगा. Not that these are small professions, but mentality that people have, these are not victorious professions. And if I wouldn't have thought straight, or if I wouldn't have believed in myself, I would have become one of these. And I would have still respected being that. But that is when I chose to not give up and become this person that is here with you, invited on a podcast. I believe I speak well. I know 5 languages. I'm not just a fighter. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a visionary. I'm a myth that people think was a traitor once. Last year, 15th August, I have pulled a string for the Indian flag at IIM. That's what pride is for me. A traitor once to pulling the flag string at the biggest college in the country. I was invited there. I teach at IIMs. I teach at IISTs. I own multiple institutions for myself. I train kids and I love it. That is where I come from.
Wow. That was heavy, man. I have a follow-up question for you. If a person really wants to learn something good out of their failure, I think the pain that follows with the failure, they have to also learn the skill to process that pain. Many guys out there are not able to process the pain through which they are being consumed by failure in a very pessimistic manner.
Yeah.
How can someone process pain?
It is by structuring yourself. You got to be structured in life with a lot of yes and a lot of no's. Do you believe in one thing, that life isn't as bad as you and your decisions make it?
Yeah, I agree.
Life is just yes or no. There are things that you like, do them. It does not need to make sense to the world out there. There are a lot of things that could keep you happy, could keep you propelled. Do those things. Society is never going to accept what's right and what's wrong until you earn and make good money out of whatever you're doing. The society will accept you. Have you ever heard a billionaire cribbing of an opportunity that he does not have? That person or that billionaire creates opportunities because he's structured in that manner.
Yep.
Let the losses pass. Take the learnings from it, move forward. If you're going to cry on an instance that has happened to you today, you cannot visualize your tomorrow to be better. A structured man looks at himself as a building with great base. Do you think Eiffel Tower could have stood up if it did not have undervalleys or underpasses under it?
Of course not.
It can be one of the tallest buildings, but do people look at bases? Structured people create a base for themselves. Falling is not bad, but falling and not getting up is worst. Structured people do not do that. As and when I structured myself to do what is needed and not what is required, I fell. But when I did a vice versa thing, what was required, when I chose that to be a priority in my life, I never fell since then. It's not that I'll never fall in the coming future as well, but whenever a structured man falls, takes the learning and make sure, bhai, I'll tell you about a mentality. Creating mistakes is not bad. But creating the same mistake again is what is bad. You can create 100 mistakes. I'm telling you a billionaire's mindset. I've spoken to some. You can create 100 mistakes, but 100 of them should not be interconnected to each other.
Yeah.
Because every mistake that you make needs to teach you, needs to build you, and needs to forge you into a better version of you. That's how structured man thinks. If you want a logical explanation to it, let me give you some of the best names in the world. Do you know about Alfa Romeo,
Yeah.
the brand?
Yeah.
A kid named Enzo went to Alfa Romeo and asked, "Sir, we should create some more beautiful cars, some sports segment cars." Alfa Romeo laughed it off. Do you know that kid Enzo? Was it a failure for him?
Big time.
Big time? Just Google Enzo Ferrari, a $79 billion company. That kid created that company. Of course, with a team, but with a vision as well. He failed big time. Alfa Romeo, one of the best brand holders that time, said no to him. Did he listen to that guy? Ferruccio Lamborghini. Have you heard the name?
Yep.
Went to Enzo. Told him, let's create muscular cars. Why aren't we going into that segment? Enzo laughed at him. Lamborghini, one of the most beautiful car segments to look at. Pagani, have you heard of it?
Yep.
Goes to Lamborghini's owner. Let us create cars that are built with carbon fiber, that can run, that can be the best in the segment. Lamborghini laughed it off. Please Google Pagani. You do not need to have money to buy a Pagani. You need to have a character to buy a Pagani. You cannot buy a Pagani with money. Pagani chooses its owners. You can be anyone in the world. It requires 6 months for Pagani to choose you and craft that car for you. No showrooms, no places to look at, just pure legacy. After Pagani, the same thing. Hennessy walks up to Pagani, "Sir, let us create the fastest cars in the world. We have carbon fiber with us." Pagani laughed off. Please Google Hennessy. Creates, manufactures, owns the fastest cars in the world. These are just some names. Do you think failure stopped them? Do you think saying no stopped them? No. They had vision and they had a belief with that vision that we are going to do it, we are going to be great, and they became the best in their segments. That's how failure can teach you, not just break you or not just give you pain. It also gives you the patience to fight, to fall, and to stand and fight again.
Do you think failure builds a man or it exposes who he really is?
It goes interconnected in a manner, because if legacy is just handed to you and you have not earned it, there are very rare chances that you can take care of that legacy. But if it is earned, you as a man or you as a person would not let it faint or fail, because you know it would not only take away your character, but also your belief in being a man. Because we, as creatures, are ego driven creatures.
Yeah.
Men have fought saber tooths, have fought tigers, have fought African mammoths at times. Do you think they enjoyed it? No. They did what was required to be done. So men today can work their ass off for 16 hours straight and not crib about it. If you can do that, failure will always teach you. If you can't, and you're gonna just look at your watch, working 9 to 5, forget the word legacy, erase it from a dictionary, and get into a rat race that 80% of this world is in. That's how I look at it. Pressure can only release the best out of you if you have it in you.
Yeah.
If there's no presence of pride in you, you're gonna break.
Wow. Bro, in one of your podcasts, you have mentioned that you show me your friends and I'll tell you your future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Firstly, that episode was one of the finest episodes I've ever heard.
Thanks.
I want to talk a little about company and how important, instead of company, I would use the word brotherhood. How important is brotherhood for a guy who willingly wants to transform in the best version of man?
It is very important. It is one of the most important things that a man can have. Because in today's world, not a lot of people want to see you successful.
Yeah.
The world will enjoy your failures way more than they can be beside you when you're successful. Why do you think Lamborghini has 2 seats? Why not 4? Why not 8? Why not 10? Do you know the reason?
No.
Up here, it's a very lonely world. Don't expect a lot of people to be there when you're up here. Fake people, you'll not be short of them. But true people that actually pushed you to get to a place where you can buy a Lamborghini, there are not many. So if you need friends, and if you're talking about you show me your friends and I can show you what's your future, that's the reality. Because when I look at myself, I'm one of the youngest people sitting on tables that are built for millionaires, billionaires, and I've built those contacts. But the day I sit in the room where I am the smartest person, I've learned this from Jack Ma. I'm sitting in the wrong room. You can never be the smartest person in the room. You are in the wrong room because your ego would not let you learn more, will keep you happy there. I have all the answers, I have all the money, I have everything that none of these people have. You will stop learning and you will stop growing there. So, in a aspect of what true brotherhood is, you need 3 qualities. A person that you can laugh with, a person that you can cry with, a person that you can grow with. And if all these 3 qualities, you find it in one man, that's what brotherhood is. You got to choose your warrior, your protector, your guardian, who's going to be by your side just via knowing all these 3 qualities. If you can trust that man with your money and your family, that is where brotherhood comes in. And it is very important. And at terms, I would say it is even more important than motivation.
Yeah.
Because motivation is an external factor that I can listen to a podcast that Josh Bhai is stating in. I can be motivated for 5 days, for 6 days. But when I'll be down, I'll not have an access to a podcast that Josh Bhai has put up, or I'll be waiting for a new podcast. What keeps me going? My fuel. What's my fuel? That person that I can talk to, I can cry to, I can be vulnerable with, I can laugh with. I do not have to keep my armors up. This is a person that's gonna cause me pain. No. And you either do not choose a person or choose this person very wisely, because this is one person that is going to make you or break you.
Beautiful. Wow. I found a brother in you, man. So much of similarities.
Likewise, bhai.
So much of similarities. You just mentioned about loneliness a while back.
Yeah.
I want to take time with this question. I think being lonely is one of the finest things a man can go through. Do you agree to that?
I am a living example of that.
Okay. Can you expand on that?
Certainly. I would not state it as a showing off pitch or a sympathy oriented pitch, but as much as people know me, I lost my mom when I was very young. My dad never wanted me as well. So I've had a childhood where I was. This is not a sympathy pitch. Let me be very clear. This is just stating where I come from, what I've become, and what is it that I believe I will not let people do to other people. This is just about that. So I come from a place where I was put into a hostel and got beaten up by 14 kids, got bullied, got ragged. Certainly came to know that if you're good at sports, you'll be gaining respect. Started playing because I wanted to gain respect from people who slashed me off, who used to beat me like whenever they were bored. Where's that guy from Indore? Find him, and slash him just for time pass. But to change that, I had to process that pain, that sorrow with such resilience that I thought then, I'm talking about 2004, I knew then that I'm going to be so strong that even 10 people cannot touch me. Or this will never happen to me again. That wasn't overconfidence. That was a visualization I had then. That is where I come from. Being ragged from these kids to becoming a mentor, taking care of all these kids that I have at my business, at my institutions. I never let this thing happen to anyone. And not just because it happened to me, because it's wrong. And I may be a person that is very rational. I may be a person that surpasses money, that surpasses pride. But I'll never be a person that lets pain cause problem to anyone.
Loneliness can either take someone towards the path of actually understanding and experiencing the profoundness of solitude and falling in love with it. When I say that, a person is very much willing to reflect on their thoughts, on their emotions, and that's how they grow.
Yeah.
But the path number 2 is it can also lead a person towards purely self-destruction.
Yeah.
How can a person consciously choose to walk on the first path?
You'll have to accept this. No one is coming to save you, bhai. You gotta be your own hero. This is not a fairy tale where someone wants you to be happy or you to be provided or you to be successful over themselves. So in the race where everyone wants what you want, how would you win? Just via believing in yourself, via having faith in yourself, and via being the loudest chairperson in the room that would shout for you. Don't expect me to shout for you that Josh bhai, come on, you can do it. Why would you? Why would I? Because my first chair would be Rajveer, you can do it. Why would it be Josh bhai, you can do it? Won't. So solitude is a one-way stream where you start understanding that no one is coming to save you. It's you versus the world. That does not build arrogance, that builds self-confidence, self-conflictions, where you start understanding and start processing a life without expectations and judgments. And it's a beautiful life. I'm a living example for that. I do not expect anything out of anyone. I do not judge. I do not want anything out of anyone. And just in the case where I do not expect anything out of anyone, the smallest of deeds done for me are surprises to me. And who does not love a surprise?
So true. Talk to me about your rock bottom, bhai. Start anywhere. Take your time.
But bhai, I've seen multiple failures, starting from MMA, being called a traitor, to getting into jobs. My first job was in Mumbai. Today we are sitting here, we are doing this podcast. Tomorrow I'm gonna go to that property. I started working with Taj Lands End as an employee. I used to earn 8,000 out there. Then I worked with another property hotels. I worked with three hotels, some of the best hotels. Then I got into aviation. I worked along with one of the greatest brands. I learned a very important life lesson via switching. So this is for all my brothers out there who believe in themselves. I have always believed in myself. But I learned something so personal in that space that I'd want to state it out. So I was working for this brand into aviation, one of the best employees, worked my ass off for the brand, for myself, not just for the brand, for myself. I was getting paid for it. And in the process, I came to know later that I got God complex. I'm the best. I can do anything. There's no one that can replace me. Thinking of this and motivating yourself is one thing, but living it isn't right. I'll tell you why. I thought that I am a person that is 6 feet, great personality. I know 5 languages. I am the best asset that this company has. Tomorrow I leave this company and I'll have 10 jobs waiting for me. All these companies out there want me as their employee. I was living in a bubble where I thought all this is real. I left the company. I wrote a resignation letter 21 times. This is just to state that how good was I as an employee. If my resignation got cancelled 20 times, I must be a good employee.
Yeah.
21st time it got accepted. I was filled with I'm the best. I'll take a off. I'll go to mountains for 5 days. I'll come back. I'll give an interview and join another company. That was something going on in here. I love mountains. I love to travel. I went to a mountain. I stayed there for 5 days. Came back with all that pride filled in. Tomorrow I'm going for an interview, and day after tomorrow I have my joining. I appeared for 10 interviews. For 30 days, I did not get one call. I am that man who can speak 5 languages, 6 feet, great personality, hardest worker in the room, doesn't matter. I was discouraged. After having so much skill, what went wrong? How can I not be having a job? Come on, it's me. I did not get one call. I called all these companies multiple times, keeping my ego aside. And the things that I heard were, you're overqualified, or you're too arrogant. You are not hit via humility yet. You'll have to be humbled. And these 30 days were the hardest. Even harder when I heard that I'm a traitor to the country. You know why? That God complex broke into glasses, shattered into glasses. It was all a powder. A layer of my ego crushed. What am I? Of no use. That's where self-doubt started haunting me. I would like to state this very personally to all the brothers listening out there. You can be the best person in the room, but until you value that position, it's waste. I didn't value that position. I don't know what changed. I did not leave hope. That's something that I created that time. So this is from that time. I thought I cannot give up. I had no choice. I did not have parents who could take care of me. I did not have a lot of people who would want me to succeed. I cracked an interview with a good company. I started working again. And since then, I've always respected people, companies, man, women, creature, things, everything. That is a day I learned. I get up every day and get to breathe is a blessing. That is not in my hand. That is in someone else's hand. And you got to be very thankful for it.
Yeah.
That is what that time taught me by. And I'm humbled for life. I'm telling you, I sit on tables where people earn millions and I meet watchmen and guard bhaiyas and I shake their hands with the same integrity and respect that I shake a hand of a millionaire. And this is pure experience.
I have a very interesting question for you. What is one truth every man needs to learn at the earlier stage of his life?
Acceptance. Acceptance to his past. What has happened has happened. You will have to accept it and own it. And until you do that, it's not going to haunt you. It is not the memories that haunt, it is only what you consider your past haunts you. And it is not that past is only going to break you because it is only at one place, and that is your mind. If you control it and if you do not let it out, there is nothing that can stop you from becoming your best potential person. Accepting your past is one of the biggest skill that a man can have. And it will never haunt you because it's just here. You let it out from here and you're done.
I have two last questions.
Yeah.
My first question would be, what should be one trait a person should have? Hold on, I actually want to put it well. If a man, while a man is building a character, what is one of the most non-negotiable thing he should adapt and he should then just follow?
I'll tell you three that are very important and very personal to me. Those are non-negotiable for Rajveer Singh Chandel. Matlab, even if the world ends, I wouldn't disagree to that. First, shall be no excuses. You will have to own to shit that is yours. It can be the best, it can be the worst, it can be guilty, ugly, anything. Stop giving excuses. Not just to the world, but to yourself as well. No excuses. Second, cultivate wisdom. The day you think you know everything is the day you need to start a new process, that's unlearn. Because the day you think you know everything, that's not you or your wisdom talking, that's just your ego exfoliating you that you are God or your God complex. You can never have all the wisdom in the world. It's a continuous learning process. And third, and the most important, for me, for a man, for a living organism, for anyone that wants to be great in life, needs to be honor your words. Never promise anyone when you're happy, and never commit anyone when you're angry. Because those are emotions that does not come from the correct space of your mind. You gotta honor your words as a man. If I've said I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be there. Either I do not say it, or even the end of this world cannot stop me from being there if I've said I'm going to be there. That is what a true man is. I'm a man of my words.
And what would be your closing message for anyone who is watching this podcast?
I want it to be very personal for everyone that is watching. So I just moved on to the camera. Brother, man to man, you got to believe in yourself. There will be days where you go into dark places, where you go into regression of your past, where you go into sorrow. But believe me, this comes from personal experience. At the end of the tunnel, there is hope, faith, and glory waiting for you. Do not give up because the world wants you to. It's just you that can surpass all of it and win. That's very personal. That has worked for me. It'll work for you. My personal life learning, and you won't believe I've learned this or I live this by. And it's come out of an animated movie, one of my favorite movies to look at, Kung Fu Panda. So there was this beautiful saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called as present. भाई why don't people live in present? आज को आज की तरह क्यों नहीं जीते? कल की चिंता में आज खत्म कर दोगे. जब तक वहाँ पहुँचोगे जो आज था वो नहीं रहेगा. So why not live life like you just have today?
Yeah.
And in the process you will secure your future as well. ऐसा नहीं है कि फ्यूचर की सोचनी ही नहीं है या रेकलेसली जाने देना है. बट आज को तो जी ले. ये समय थोड़ी वापस आएगा. You can be a billionaire, you can be a trillionaire. There's one thing that you can't buy. How do you buy time? Will you ever be 28 again? Will I ever be 29 again? No, not in this lifetime. Live your present to the fullest.
Perfect. Was really one hell of an experience, man. I enjoyed it.
I loved it. This is one of the most, I stated it prior to this as well. This is one of the most unfiltered conversations that I've had in a very long time. I have never spoken about my MMA past and all of that stuff because I think people will take it as I need sympathy. I'm not that person. I've done good for myself. Let be businesses, let be wisdom, let be growth, let be prosperity. I've done great for myself.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in me, Google my name.
But yeah, I appreciate it a lot. And thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
It was a pleasure talking to a person with the same mindset.
And I'll see you soon on our next episode.
Certainly. You'll see Dr. Rajveer Singh Chandel then.
Perfect. Looking forward to it, man.
Pleasure being here. Bye.
Cheers.